Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and members of Ballet International. Today we have a special guest. I'm not going to tell you his name right away, even maybe if you see his name written on Zoom, but I think this interview is going to be very interesting to hear, to listen, and to learn. So our guest today is Mr. Vincent Hantam. And originally he is from South Africa. And then he became a very good dancer, soloist, and then I think principal, if I'm not wrong. And he went to England and he established himself in Scotland. And then also he danced very much in different countries of Europe, obtaining a high acclaim and a high success and plenty of applause. And the audience was always enthusiastic whenever Vincent Hantam was dancing on stage. He was also a colleague of all the dancers of Pact Ballet, and many people, ex-dancers of South Africa, they send him their best love and their best hugs to Vincent Hantam. There is a special one who is Patsy Dunn. I'm sure that Mr. Vincent Hantam knows her very well. So, how are you doing, Vincent?
I'm doing very well. Good evening, Jean-Pierre. How are you?
It's so nice to have you online, and it's a great honor. And I'm sure that all dancers of Pact Ballet will be so happy to hear your interview today. So, Vincent, how did you start your ballet classes when you were a child?
It's okay. I started by the age of 12. There were so many ballet teachers or people who knew or thought they knew about ballet. And they were always, well, they were constantly looking for the extra girl to fill in. And I was small enough and they put me in a tutu, and that was the start of my ballet. Yeah, I know. What a shock.
And was that in South Africa?
That was in Cape Town, in a little town called Simonstown. Beautiful town.
Yes. And how many years did you?
After that,
did you study ballet? For how many years?
Well, after that, there was a very good friend of mine, Christopher Kindo, his cousin, Cecil Jacobs.
Yes.
He started teaching ballet. Yes. And then we all started, seriously, Cecil Jacobs with Christopher Kindo, Jack Weingard, Leonard Brown and myself, and so many other girls.
Yes. And who were your teachers?
Well, the first good teacher was Cecil Jacobs, followed by Ivy Mae MacDonald. It was just the most incredible teacher ever.
And so you started at the age of 12. And then how many years did you study in Cape Town until you started doing an audition to go into a ballet company?
Well, it was 4 years with Ivy Mae MacDonald before I left. I left at the age of 16, 1973, to join the Royal Ballet School, and I was there for about 2 years. They wanted me to continue, but become a teacher. Because of my color, I couldn't join the company. I was a little bit frustrated after that. And then I auditioned for Scottish Ballet. They were looking for principal dancers.
Yes.
But I was the only one there. And there was another Japanese dancer called Yuji Sato, a wonderful dancer. And both of us auditioned at the same time. And they took us in. And that was the first. That was the first of my journey.
Yes. If I may ask, did you suffer a lot of the repercussion of the apartheid in South Africa?
Oh, good heavens, yes. That was the reason why I left. Thank heaven someone came to my rescue. Because if I had stayed, I don't know what I would have become, honestly.
Yes. But this
It was that
also,
bad.
did you suffer from that also in England, in frequenting the Royal Ballet?
The company, yes, in getting in, but I was the only dark person there at that time. And it was wonderful at the time. I just thought, okay, fine, I'm the only one that's different,
Yes.
just because of my color. But good heavens, you had to work for every day you went there. You had to, otherwise you would have been out. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
What impact did you had at the Royal Ballet just because you were different color from other people? I mean, the color doesn't matter. What is important is the technique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I wanted to try and convey was that I was no different.
Yeah.
I worked harder than anybody else there. And on a Thursday afternoon, there would be something called a coaching lesson. I was the only one who went there every single Thursday. But it proved to be an asset. Wonderful.
Yes. Who were your teachers in at the Royal Ballet?
At the Royal Ballet, the first year was Walter Trevor. It was my height.
Okay.
And what a powerhouse of a teacher. Wonderful, wonderful teacher. Taught me how to chant. A wonderful teacher. And he really was the one who taught me everything, how to partner with someone bigger than me.
Yes. And did you find a difference in the technique between the South Africa work and the Royal Ballet work?
I find the difference rather marginal. Same technique, same way of teaching, but there was more emphasis on the technique side when it came to the Royal Ballet.
Yes.
And that's what I found much more satisfying. Because in today's world, if you do not have a sound technique, you won't get in. Which is unfortunate.
Yes, I understand that you are right, absolutely right for that. Then from the Royal Ballet, what did you do? Did you make other auditions for other ballet companies?
No, just the one audition for Scottish Ballet. And I went there on the off chance and I got the job. It was wonderful. But then I still had to do the end of year performance for the Royal Ballet School. It was wonderful. I did the Joker's Clown and it was choreographed especially for me. It was just delicious. I had to act, I had to partner, I had to dance, I had to do everything. It was wonderful. I even had to try and draw a makeup clown, which was my first one, but everything worked. Yeah. Barbara Fuster was the principal at that time, and she helped me with everything. Wonderful, wonderful lady. Everybody at the school. Yeah. I cannot thank them enough to help me along the way.
Yeah. Did you find a difference of atmosphere and general speaking about the technique and, you know, about the politics within the two different type of schools or ballet company of the Royal Ballet and the Scottish Ballet?
Nothing different, really. In the Scottish Ballet, what I liked about the Scottish Ballet was that you felt more of a family. Yes, it was a smaller company, but everybody unfortunately knew everybody else, and I didn't like that. But what I did like was the camaraderie. If you were depressed one day, everybody would just want to know why and pep you up a little bit or take you out. You know, it was just wonderful. And also the director, Peter Darrell, he encouraged everybody to try something new every day. So we all had to go at choreography. It was incredible time, just wonderful.
So what age did you have at that time when you were in the Scottish and the Royal Ballet, when you were dancing with them?
Oh, well, I joined the Royal Ballet School at the age of 16. It was supposed to have been a 3-year course, but I finished the 3-year in 2, which was wonderful. And then, of course, I didn't get the job. Barbara Fuster said, well, please go and audition. There's one Scottish ballet, you won't get in because they're looking for principal dancers, but the experience will do you good. And I thought, jolly well done. So I did. And I got in. That was wonderful. I joined the Scottish Ballet in August of my I was 19. And my first port of call was just to get myself some digs. I had no digs, nowhere to stay. But my first floor was in 10 Marchmont Terrace. And I walked past that building practically every single day and just reminisce, looked down the basement and said, yes, that's my body on that floor there. Sharing with 3 other ladies from New Zealand and Australia. It was fun. It was real fun.
Yes, well, I can understand you very well.
I didn't like it much, but soon after that we went on a tour, which was called A Pint and a Pirouette. Peter Darrell was the first to choreograph little pieces like that to be shown in pubs.
Oh.
Lunch times.
Yeah.
Exactly, 8%, right through the roof. It was incredible. We got them all. A Pint and a Pirouette. I don't know if you remember the theme tune to Jaws. That music when the shark comes through the water.
No.
That real bass rhythm. And I opened up the theme doing modern jazz. It was wonderful. That was my introduction to Scottish Ballet. I loved it.
So you are a sort of a multidisciplinary dancer because you learn the classic way and also you learn the other technique that helped you to become more complete as a dancer, the technique and the style.
Oh, yes. And yes, one should build on your technique, but without your inner dancing, if you can't feel steps, technique is nothing. You've got to feel what you do. And that's also why I love teaching.
Yeah.
I bleed for them. And I said, if you can't do a tandu, please don't come and do my class. Because tandu is everything.
Yes.
But I make fun of my mistakes and we have a laugh. We really have a good laugh.
So what are the important roles that you have been dancing in England? I mean, for Royal Ballet, for the Scottish Ballet?
Well, when I joined the Scottish Ballet, it was all quarter ballet, which I was well prepared to do. But then I was also learning solo roles. And I went, okay, fine, did them. And then someone said, if you landed softly, you might get a little raise. Because apparently I was jumping through the rafters, but landed right through the floorboards. And that wasn't helping anyone, not even my muscles. But I enjoyed all of that. And slowly but surely, I got promotion. And then someone said, why don't you use Vincent for the role in Cherie, which Peter Darrell beautifully brought alive on stage. And Peter Darrell turned around and said, but Vincent's a technician, he's not an actor. Eventually I got a performance and he came around backstage and he said, why didn't you tell me you could act? And I said, you never asked me, Mr. Darrell. So from that time, I was given passionate roles. Oh, I loved it. I love pouring my soul on stage, showing people what it means to me to do this role. To do a prince, anybody can do a prince. That's all technique. You just have to smile and look pretty. But to do a meaty role, give it to me any day. Oh, yes.
How the circumstances went that many people of Pact Ballet? Did you dance for Pact Ballet also?
Yes, I did. Funny you should ask me that because Ashley Killer invited me to NAPAC Dance Company in Durban. And I was involved in a triple bill, which was wonderful. And I had a few days left before I had to return back to Scotland. But then I received a telegram asking me if I could help out Pact Ballet Company from Dornwallow Racetrack to do Don Quixote, Rudolph Nureyev's Don Quixote. I questioned, I said, are you sure? And they said, yes, please, because we're in we're up against the wall. Because apparently this big star from America wanted an extortionate amount of money and they couldn't afford him. And they heard that I was in town. So
Yeah.
I was the next best thing. They
Yeah.
sent me down the video. I taught myself whatever I could. And yes, Dawn Waller-Raystick signed me up and I danced with Beverly Bagg.
Yeah. So which year was that?
It was in the early 80s, definitely, because I only just joined Scottish Ballet. So it must have been in the early 80s, because soon after that, I was invited back again to Ballet Company to do Patineur.
Yeah.
And after that, I was invited to produce Spectre de la Rose, which
Yeah.
was produced for Scottish Ballet and for me
Yes.
by John Gilpin.
Yes.
So now the production is mine. And when I performed it and produced it, it was a wonderful combination.
Yeah.
I was very lucky, extremely lucky to go back 3 times.
Do you miss South Africa?
Of course I do. It's my home. I was born there. In fact, I was born in a town called Ceres, but moved to Simonstown. And before we were forcibly moved to Ocean View, I then moved to London.
Yeah.
So I wasn't all that familiar with Ocean View, but I do go back. And when I do go back, of course, I go and visit Ocean View. And my family spread all around Cape Town on the Western Cape. And I miss them, but I'm pretty sure I will be going this December to go and visit them.
Nice.
Yes, after a long, long wait. And I cannot wait to meet them because I really do miss them. Do you know what I miss the most is a hug. I mean, a real hug.
Yes.
And that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yes.
But there you go.
Well, I can imagine how happy they will be when they will see you again.
Oh, yes, and same here. I can't wait. I really can't wait.
How did you meet Patsy Dunn?
I didn't. Apparently, Patsy knew me from those days. Yeah, I don't think I met Patsy Dunn. I know she knows of me, but I can't remember. But every time I see photographs of her and that beautiful arabesque, I'm sure I've seen her because the whole company of Pat, I mean, the technique,
Yes.
wow, the dancers, the soloists, the principals. And then I look at little old me and Tony, because when I walked in, everybody was expecting someone to be 6'3". And of course, I walked in 5'6". What a laugh. What a laugh. But we became good friends, really good friends.
Yeah. Well, I know that you are a good friend of Beverly Bagg, who is a sweetheart.
Beverly Bagg was more than a sweetheart. She taught me so much in that pas de deux, really everything.
Did you ever dance in United States?
I did. I joined the Sadler's Wells Royal Ballet. I left Scottish Ballet for a time, and that was also in the 80s. Yeah. And I joined them, and I thought I was going to stay there, walk on parts.
Yes.
But that's another story. Yeah, we went to North and South America. We had to pack 2 suitcases.
Did you dance for Cape Town?
Oh, yes. Cape Town, Cape Hab was David Poole, and he invited me to dance with the company. David Poole, he was the director, the artistic director. Yeah. Wonderful gentleman. And I just absolutely loved the way he spoke, which is frightfully awful, and very low down. And I stayed with him and his partner. Yes, it was just beautiful. I did Peasant Pas de Deux and Patineur, and also Spectre de la Rose, which I produced for his company as well, and for Jack Weingard.
From dancer, you became principal dancer, soloist and principal dancer, and then you became teacher.
I became a teacher while I was dancing, because I would correct dancers, and they'll ask me to correct them, and then I'll say, well, if you did this, do that, put this here. Yeah. And it went from there. And then there was one teacher also who encouraged me to teach.
Yes.
And I did, but the dancers didn't like it because I was correcting them. And you know what dancers are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are a little bit nasty.
Yes. Well, that's why I left Scottish Ballet. Yeah.
And I know that you became a famous ballet teacher all over Europe because you have been teaching also in Italy and in Malta.
In Malta, yeah, and also Sicily.
Yes.
I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. And I love going there because the dancers, however young they are, they have such a professional approach to everything they do.
Yes.
And it's not forced, it's beautiful schooling.
Yes.
So on the first day after I finished teaching them, I asked the teacher, why did you invite me? Because they are perfect. And she said, no, they are robots. They need to be dancers. And that was the best compliment.
Yeah. Well,
and I love it.
Yes, because well, they looked at you as a great professional, and they knew that you would be able to give the right correction at the right time.
At the right time, exactly. And that's why when I teach, not only do I love teaching, but I teach for the dancer of today. Yeah. I don't teach the way I want them to look. I teach the way they would like to look.
Yeah. And
you've got to give them confidence.
Yeah, confidence is very important. Do you see there is a good evolution in the technique from since you started doing ballet and up to when you see the dancers today? Has the technique evolved in a good way, or there are some things who are not good?
I see your point. In most cases, yes, generally. But there are some steps I see on stage and during performances I go, now, was that necessary? Yeah. Or why? Yeah. I question everything, but I must admit there are two steps that I used to do when I was performing at the height of my career, which none of the other dancers I'm yet to see do. I try to give it during my professional classes, and it's a little tricky. And then one boy said, show us. I went, no, I'm a pensioner. You show me. But we came to a consensus, and I said, well, next time. But yes, it's my turn to give. And it's more rewarding to give and to see the pleasure on the dancers' faces, especially the ones who stand at the back. I always put them in the front.
Yeah. You always reverse the situation.
Completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't.
And do you work also as choreographer?
I do. I tinker with choreography. In fact, have you heard of COP27?
No.
Well, that's happening in Egypt now, Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yeah.
And the first opening sequence, that will be my choreography, unfortunately.
Why, unfortunately?
Well, I have some wonderful people who's working for me. One I know is Barry Barretto. The other one is Marlene Watkins, and the lady who's responsible for it, Dr. Wendy Mae Timmons. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be sitting here, seriously. She preempts everything for me. She really is she's a bit like Patsy, one of my angels on earth.
So you have two angels.
I have, yes, I do. I'm very lucky.
And when is your choreography going to be performed in Egypt?
I honestly can't tell you because I don't know, and the producer, Wendy Mae Timmons, doesn't know. All I know is that I have a rehearsal next week, so it's still ongoing. And I told her I cannot attend on the 9th of December because I'll be in Cape Town. And she said, well noted. So I'm definitely going to come to Cape Town.
So you are going to stay during the whole Christmas?
But I will let you know. And no, I'm there from the 6th of December and then I leave on the 27th of December because I want to be here before the first week of January.
It would be a good opportunity for you to give class during your stay in Cape Town as a teacher.
Well, I would love to. I really would love to, because I know Cape Town City at Artscape, they will be playing the Nutcracker. So I hope to be teaching them. Would be lovely.
And how is the response of the dancers when you are teaching or when you are choreographing? Do they respond well? Do they accept your ideas, your point of view, and your choreography or your teaching? Do they accept that? Are they willing to work positively with what you are asking?
That's a heavy load question, but in general, yes, when I'm teaching, they accept it because unfortunately, I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I don't generalize the correction. Well, I do, but then if it's for one specific person,
yes,
I will mention that person and go up to them and show them and put them in. When it comes to choreography, it's a two-way thing. You should know the dancers and the dancers should know you. You give them a position or they give you a position. You say, how can you get out of that safely into this position? So that's how I like to choreograph because it is their piece.
Yes. And how do they respond after the performance? Are they thankful to you?
Always. But when I change things, they're not so thankful. Because after I see the piece, I want to change things again, and I shouldn't, because upstairs, wow, and they work so hard, so I won't change it.
I think that happens to many choreographers.
Unfortunately.
Yes. When
I wouldn't really.
They only see the work when it's on stage for the first time, and then they said, "Oh, I have to change that. I have to modify this."
Which is too late or too much work. Yeah. I wouldn't exactly class myself as a choreographer, but when I look at my classes, yes, they are choreographed, but it has a tendu, it has a glissé, too. It has.
How is the audience responding to your
work?
When
it said.
Sorry.
Surprisingly, rather well.
And how is
very well indeed.
The audience is responding well.
Very well. But also my influence for choreography is MMM, Margaret Morris Movement. It is just incredible. Have you heard of it?
No.
That is the world's best kept secret.
I'm very ignorant in many things, Vincent.
I only discovered in 2010.
Yes.
And it's been going for over 100 years.
Wow.
It is incredible.
If I may ask, what type of technique and combination do you use during your classes? Is it a mix and with your own style, or is it something based on Royal Academy School, or more maybe a Russian school or other type of styles?
The one style I'm really in love with is Giuchetti. I absolutely love the Giuchetti method.
Yes.
It has a épaulet. It's just juicy. That's how I like to describe it, juicy.
Yes, yes. And
I have a wonderful teacher in Glasgow called Maureen Christie, and I try to go. The last time I went was 3 years ago. I should really go again.
And how about giving new classes to new countries that you have ever been? For instance, I don't know, in Eastern Europe, or maybe if they invite you to go to Japan or to Australia, or new places that
Well,
you
yeah,
never heard of.
I have been to Japan, and it's lovely, hard work, but beautiful. Again, the dancers, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I would love to go to much more places.
Yes.
But I think people are scared. I don't know why.
Well,
And I love traveling.
I think that places like Japan, Korea, China, they are so far that we create in our mind many obstacles because due to our ignorance that we don't know very much about these countries. But there is a lot to learn about. There's a lot to discover about them because they also have their potential in ballet. And it's, what is nice in the ballet world is not only to show that you or other people are good choreographers or they make good work, but also the idea that also a good choreographer can learn from other people. There's always something new to learn.
Of course there is. And what I like about going to all these different places is that you can learn and you open up and you see something new. Before I was invited to teach in Japan, I was invited to dance with the Hirofumi Inoue company. And that was just incredible.
Yeah.
What they call their little city hall stage. Absolutely loved it. And the food's not too bad either.
The food is very nice. The food is very nice. Well, it depends, if you are an adaptable person, you can live and be happy as a king everywhere in the world. If you are the type of person If you are the type of person who complains all the time, you will never be happy and you will never enjoy life. So it depends on your spirit of adaptation. And I think this is the essential key, especially for ballet dancers, Sorry, we are having another problem with internet. Do you, well, since you have been traveling and working and teaching and dancing and choreographing and doing, plenty of things everywhere, do you find a little difference between, for instance, Japan, South Africa, England, Italy, in the students, in the type of physique, the type of how they hold the position, the type how they behave in class, if there is some more discipline in some countries and less discipline into another?
That is a loaded question. How dare you? But I'll try. They're all different.
I'm very nasty for the questions, because
I noticed. I've got to be very careful here, but I'll tell you the honest truth. They are all different, and thank heavens they are. The outcome might not be the same, but what I like about in Southern Africa, when they dance with heart and soul. The technique is there, yes, thank God. But in Cape Town, what I notice is that they have a natural jump, which is incredible. How do you teach that? In Japan again, if you go there, you'll see perfect physiques. You go, oh, beautiful, every one of them. But can they dance? Yes, they can, but like machines. But it's still beautiful.
Yes.
They are all different. Yes. That's what I love about the world of dance. Thank heavens. Yes. What I like most companies or some companies to introduce nowadays,
yes,
different shapes and sizes.
Yes.
Don't only think of long and thin and lean.
Yes.
They'll think of the heart and the soul and what they can do, what they can.
Many people complain today about the evolution of ballet, that, you see the girls doing and stretching, overstretching, with legs going up to 180 degrees and making développé with an arabesque penché, like with a straight line leg, and do you agree with this, or you prefer an arabesque like Margot Fontaine, who wasn't very open back, but she was wonderful style and a wonderful ballerina?
The dreaded question, I knew that was going to come. Give me length of line any day instead of height of leg.
Yes.
Length of line will beat any day.
Yes.
And that's gospel. You look at the length of line now. There's more length than anything, and you go, cut it off quickly, cut it off. Length of line instead of height of leg.
Yes.
Any day. I will sell my soul for that one. Please.
And so you, as a teacher, as a choreographer, I am sure that probably on YouTube you have seen beautiful work of the Mariinsky Theater, the Vagadova Ballet School, and Moscow School and Ballet. What is your opinion about their technique? Because they work in a different way from the Royal Ballet.
What I like about their technique is that it's drilled daily. But unfortunately, that doesn't translate onto the stage in no way possible, because they'll never do that on stage. But I mean, all of their technique and the way they teach can get results like that. Good and well, I'll take it any day.
Yes.
It's having, I wish more dancers could have humbleness. That's lacking in their diet, completely and utterly. Humbleness. Very simple to spell, very simple to swallow. If you can understand the word humbleness, that's lacking in. Such a shame.
Yes. And so now your choreography is going to be inaugurated and made in Egypt, in the Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And can't wait, because just because I have to finish the piece next week, and I've got two wonderful dancers, so we're going to have to clean it up.
Okay. And what would you do if, for instance, you are invited in Israel? Would you be happy to work there and to discover this new country and teach or choreograph something?
But we'll wait and see. One should never say never. I try to be an optimistic, but these days you wake up in the morning and say, thank you. Good morning. Yes.
And
you have to laugh.
Besides dancing with Beverly Bag, did you also have been teaching with her or working, collaborating with her?
Well, no, it was rather unfortunate. I was invited to America, where I was teaching for the Chiquetta Society, and Beverly Bag happened to be there, and she popped over, and that was the only time I saw Beverly Bag. We took loads of photographs, but that was it, which is unfortunate. And I'm sure she looks amazing then, and she looks $1 million now. Of course, I'd love to dance with her, but never the twain should meet. I don't think so. I've got a big soft spot for Beverly. Definitely big soft spot for that lady. Yeah.
She's a wonderful person. She's a wonderful person. What would happen if a theater, ballet company would tell you, Vincent, we offer you a place to become artistic director. Would you accept?
No, I'm not that way inclined. I'd like to do the dirty work, to be ballet master. Artistic, no. That means you sit on your ass, you beg for money, you knock on door, no. And you have to say no to dancers. No, I can't do that. I can kill them in the studio. Yes, give me the dirty work. But artistic director, I'm not that way inclined.
Yes. Well, it's a difficult task, you know, being an artistic director. And so you prefer to stand as a teacher and choreographer, is that right?
Yeah, I don't want to be. Thank you very much.
But if you were offered a contract as a full-time ballet teacher or choreographer, what would you be happy about this?
Yeah, I don't want to be. Thank you very much.
But if you were offered a contract as a full-time ballet teacher or choreographer, what would you be happy about this?
Being choreographer, no, not even that.
So what is your dream for the future to see in ballet?
More boys being encouraged and to stay the length. Yeah. And to endure everything before they get into a company. And don't just give in when you've joined a company, because I've seen so many boys who work so hard during their school years. Yeah. And once they get into the company, their techniques seem to lessen. There's no oomph. There's no, oh, well, now they've gotten into the company, they can relax. And they stay there for 15 years as a corps de ballet. Hang on. And you go, wow, what a waste. Yeah. That's what's happening these days.
Yeah. And what is your wish to the dancers who are listening to you today, that you may give some message of hope?
If you're going to dance, and if you want to dance, if you wake up in the morning and you want to dance, if you go to bed and you want to dance, that means you should be a dancer. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And regardless of what happens, if you want to dance, you go and dance, because people will watch.
Yeah. And do you keep your training now that, I don't know, how old are you now?
66.
Wow, bravo.
I'm a pensioner.
Well, but you are in a good shape, very good shape. And do you still keep your training?
Yeah. I try and do classes, but it's not always conducive to the body. It takes me about half an hour to get there, and it takes me about an hour and a half to get back. That's how bad I feel after each class.
But you do bar and center work, or you do just some stretching or some different type of classes?
No, I do Cicchetti. I try and do Cicchetti on a Saturday with Maureen Christie, but it never really works out. But she gives a marvelous class, and she doesn't take prisoners, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I love going there.
And how do you respond when you see that some people are pointing the finger on you and are highlighting your mistakes, or your, you know, they're not happy about your work? And how do you respond about that?
When I'm not happy, I'll let people know I'm not happy. Yes. Because I try to be a perfectionist. Yes. I was classed as a perfectionist when I danced, and unfortunately it traveled through, which I think is a good thing, because now things are where they should be and I know where they are. Yes. But if things go against the grain and I don't like it, I will question. And then if I still don't like it, I will discard it.
Yes. You're right. Have you been working with Mrs. Brigitte Gauci-Borda in Malta?
No.
But, in which?
This has been years. Remember, I'm a pensioner. I don't remember the name.
But in Malta, you have been teaching in ballet?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh.
I've been teaching ballet there, and what I liked about Malta was that every day we went to a different place to go and have lunch, because Malta is so tiny, so condensed,
Yeah.
and it was just glorious. I can't wait to go back. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and everything crossed so that I can get invited to go back.
When you see new choreographies today, especially dealing with contemporary style and new choreographies, what is your opinion about it? Are you pleased about the way they present themselves on stage, the costumes, the lighting, and the general idea of the different type of choreography? So sometimes the people, the audience, is not really happy about the new choreography. They prefer the old one. So what is your opinion, your idea about it?
I absolutely like the new way that they choreograph. Not all of them, because some of them, they have the most fabulous physiques and the most intensive lighting and beautiful costumes, or no costumes at all. And yet they stand for 20 minutes doing nothing, just pointing the finger, and you go, hello, I could be at home by now. But then there are others that are so interesting, you question, and you sit until the end, and you even applaud. Those are the ones that I yearn for. I see and I look and I go, wow, what a talent. It's interesting. I love them, but not all of them.
In some ballet companies, they apply only pure classical ballet technique. But there are other companies which they apply both classical ballet and contemporary ballet, and maybe new other styles of dance. What is your opinion? Do you think that mixing the two styles, contemporary and classical ballet together, gives an opportunity to dancers and to the ballet company to improve the general type of technique?
I think the companies that have both of them, companies that are really well off, they can afford to have them.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate, because I think every company should be able to do both. Yes. After all, classical ballet is your ABC. But if you can do the other, good heavens, yes, good and well. And particularly for today, 21st century, you have to be able to do both. Otherwise, you won't even get into the door. But to see the new ones coming in, you just go, yes, 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 maybe. And you question again. But I think the companies that have them, if you look around, all the big companies have dual, if you like, classical and contemporary and new works. Yeah. It's only the ones, the staid ones, who are really classical and who really cannot afford new works or different works, that do not have them. And I feel for them, and I'm sure they would like to try something different or do something different as well.
Yeah. Now that in South Africa, the apartheid has been completely abolished and the situation became to normal, do you think that this could give a new hope to male dancers and ballerinas to dance in like any other ballet dancers, no matter what color we are, but at least they will have more chance than the time that when you were young, that was completely different. You see what I mean? There's more freedom now for dancers, for artists to evolve.
I think that's a brilliant step forward, because I would like to see dancers not necessarily between, say, 19 and 40, supposedly. I want to see dancers in their 80s, in their 90s, still dance. regardless of the shape. If they can move and if they want to move and if they can still take corrections and remember, why not? Good and well. I will encourage that.
Yes. And do you think some people were saying that maybe we could have a try to create an adult ballet company? You know, there are many adult people that they are doing ballet classes, maybe not with high standard of technique, but they give the passion and the love, and maybe by giving them the opportunity to perform on stage, that would be a good thing also for adults.
Oh, I think that's a wonderful idea. They're doing this over here already. Their dance space has got two companies, if you like, of 12 dancers each, and they over the age of 60 to about 84. And they tour the UK, and they go all over the place, and they are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And yes, if they are dancers who still want to dance and they are pensioners and they can dance, good and well, I'll be the first to champion them on. I love teaching adult classes. I teach them all the time. It's lovely.
Well, I think, you know, when you teach to adults, they respond in a different way from a young one, but you can see the joy in their faces, you know, because they do it with all the passion and love, which is different. Because when you are young, you give your passion, you give your love, but not at the full. Well, if you are an adult, you know that time is limited, and it's a gift. It's a gift that you can still perform. You know what I mean?
Completely, I understand completely, Jean-Pierre, because whenever I teach what they call the adult classes, sometimes I've got to stop crying, because when they perform, they really perform and they feel it. And my God, I've got to turn my back and dab here and, you know, must go to the toilet and wash my hands. And
You have to find an excuse just to not show your tears.
Yeah, they do touch my soul. They do touch it, and I love teaching them. Absolutely love it. We have a ball.
So, a little question. Do you think that the new type of technique, because the technique has evolved today in ballet, the combinations are a little bit longer, they are different at the bar and in the center work. But I think there are many dancers who report that they have injuries. Do you think that this is the new technical way of working that brings more injuries?
Of course it is. And also dancers are pushing themselves to try different techniques, and if they're doing 2 pirouettes today, do 3 tomorrow, do 4 the next day, do 5 the next day, jump higher, beat more. Of course you will. And because the technique is stretching, it's getting better and better. Classes, the combinations are getting longer and a little bit more trickier. I still go for the basic simple bar and push them a little bit in the center so that they can think of being on stage instead of being in the studio.
Did you ever experience some injuries yourself?
Oh, good heavens, yes. We did Cranko's Romeo and Juliet, and I was Mercutio, and I had to jump off the table in Act 2. Tybalt ran towards me and said, "I'm going to kill you, blah, blah, blah." And I jumped off the table and landed, and I couldn't move. And I said, "Oh, I can't move." And people thought I was really joking, and I couldn't move. They had to carry me off stage. Benvolio had to finish my fight. It was in Ireland, Northern Ireland, Belfast. I was off for 3 months with a bad back. And I said, never again.
But did you fell off the table, or you just it was the wrong movement?
No, I was playing Mercutio, and I to jump off the table and land in the center of the stage and say, come on, Tavut, fight with me. And I did, and I jumped up with gusto and landed, and all of a sudden I said, I can't move, and I couldn't move. They had to carry me off. I was in a wheelchair for 3 months. Yes, I was angry with myself because I was showing off.
And
that's where I live on stage.
How did you recover?
I show off on stage.
How did you recover? Slowly by doing the rehabilitation?
Very slowly. Oh, it couldn't happen quick enough. And then I had a physiotherapist who was just instrumental with me having to walk again. It happened so quickly. And then after that, we had to go down to London for Scottish Ballet's 10th anniversary at Sadler's Wells. And of course, I was doing everything again. And then I was off with tendinitis, the right foot. Whoa! Mr. Darrell came to me and said, Mr. Hantam, this is an inopportune moment for you to go off. Oh, I miss that gentleman. He was so, he gave you energy. He made you want to dance. Yeah. The choreographer of all choreographers.
And was he also teaching, Mr. Darrell?
He would teach at the end of each season, and then he'll give you a clue as to what the new ballet will be. So, for instance, at the end of the Nutcracker season, he came out dressed as a pirate. He was going to teach. And then the following season, Penzaz came out, or it didn't come out because there was no money. But we always knew what was going to come next.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was brilliant like that. And we always had fun, always. And he always called me Mr. Hantam. And I always called him Mr. Darrell, but everybody else called him Peter. And then he said, if you don't call me Peter, I won't give you this role. And I went, you can't do that. You can't do that. But yeah, I think he liked me. Yeah.
Well, I also think that it is very important that in a ballet company, can be UK, can be in Europe or United States, whatever it is. Within the ballet company, there must be a great respect within ballet teachers, ballet dancers, choreographers, artistic director, and that you feel that you are making part of a family.
Yep.
This is very important today. And this is the only way that a ballet company can make good production and improve their work, just having this feeling of being united like a family. This is very important.
I see your point. And that's why I stayed there that long with Scottish Ballet, because at the moment I joined, I felt at home. It was wonderful. Yes. Some people would say, why don't you come and stand here at the bar? And they were standing there for 10 years. And you go, are you sure? They go, yes, please come. Welcome, welcome. And Peter Darrell, I can't believe that man has gone and left us. But he was the God up there. And everybody did whatever he asked us to do. It was just incredible what he gave the company, what he could bring out of all of us. Like, he didn't think that I could act. And then when I did play Cherie, he just went, Mr. Hantam, you never told me you could act. I said, Mr. Darrell, you never asked me. And we would have that conversation. It was wonderful. He could always trust me. But when I went off, he never spoke.
How old was he?
Oh, good heavens. I never even asked. I'm sure he must have been in his 50s or early 60s. He was always young looking, always vibrant, always with sunglasses on, regardless of the weather, sunglasses. Never forget them. I think, is he looking at me or is he looking over there? Because the head's over there, but the eyes are this way. And you never know where he's looking, but then he'll say, stop that, Mr. Hantam. And yeah, just incredible.
Maybe
and he would.
Maybe he was wearing the sunglasses on purpose in order that you couldn't watch his eyes.
That's what he always did. It was incredible. You'd never know when he was in a bad mood. In fact, we'd never see him in a bad mood. Always giving, helping. Or if he said, well, if you can't do this, Mr. Hantam, I'll send you back to Ivy Mae MacDonald, which is my teacher in Cape Town. And I went, I'm going to practice it. He said, you better. And they were all to the left. So I had to try it. It's just incredible. Brought out the best in all of us as dancers. Yeah.
What is your wish that you would like to express from your heart to the choreographers of today?
You've gone going, because what they're doing is marvelous. They're all individuals. They're all different.
Yes.
That's what's so wonderful about the world of dance. I like the diversity of it.
Yes.
And if someone points a finger at any one choreographer, I don't think they do it in the wrong intentions. It's just their way of saying, no, thank you. Whereas I won't go to it if I don't like it.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Have you ever worked in Germany?
Oh, yes. With Mr. Forsyth himself and his dancers. I was there, in Berlin. What a wonderful city. And the streets are so wide. And the gold. Oh. And I even taught at the, what is his name, the director, somebody Watkins, while I was teaching the Forsyth Dance Company. It was a wild time. And then I also taught the Forsyth Company in London when they came to London.
Yes. And so how was your experience in Germany?
I liked it. I was a little bit offended by some of the Germans.
Why?
And they didn't like, they are very outspoken.
Mm.
I liked, we were staying in a little villa, and this villa had about 10 or 20 other villas around it, and it was lovely. It was self-catering, but the sauna, jacuzzi, and the health center was open for everyone. And I went there, and I was just lying out there, thinking, "Oh, isn't this wonderful?" And this guy walked in, and he said, "Why don't you cover yourself with a black boy?" And I just thought, fine. So I covered myself up and like, but that was a one-off. You know, people leave them to their own devices. That's fine. But I just, if you don't know the language, I was close in Afrikaans. I was close, so I could understand some of it, but I couldn't converse with them.
Yes. Well, Afrikaans is different from German.
Completely, but there are some words that are close.
Yes.
Yeah, so I could follow a little bit.
Yes. And are you still in touch with all the people that you have been working with in the past?
When I say thank heavens for Facebook, I got in contact with the dance world, with all my colleagues in the past and all my future contacts, which is wonderful. I don't go on Facebook much, only when they say you've got memories, blah, blah, blah. That's it. I even miss birthdays. I used to religiously always thank heavens for Facebook. I'm in contact with most of my colleagues, and I love that.
This is the most important, is to stay in contact with people, you know, because there are many people who are not alive anymore, and you know, we are all getting older.
Yes, well, I'm not going to say how old I am, but anyway, yes, we all are getting older. But that's why I say thank heavens for Facebook, so that I can keep up with people. Because every time I go in and people say, especially on WhatsApp, oh, someone has died, someone has passed away. I can't cope with things like that. Yeah. So I listen to Adele. She's my favorite singer these days.
Do you like music?
I love music, all types of music, including opera.
It's the best medicine for the soul, music.
It certainly is. It calms me. It really does. It also gives me food for thought as to what I'm going to give or teach them the next day. And I could be thinking of a dal and thinking of an adage. Just something different.
There is a beautiful picture about you that I have seen some time ago while you are in arabesque position and you are holding, doing a pressage, holding a ballerina. And this is beautiful.
Yes.
It's a beautiful photo of you. And
that's the end of.
And both of you in this picture are excellent. I'm sorry that we had all these problems with the internet today, because usually the other day I made a beautiful interview with Patsy, and she is more far.
I know, I saw that.
And she's more far than you are. You are next to Europe, and she's far on the other side of the planet. And the connection was perfect. Now that you are next to me and next door to me, you are in England, the internet connection is so bad today. I don't know what is happening. However, so you are also a member of Ballet International.
Yep. I am. I do try to be.
And what is the message that comes from your heart that you wish to express to the audience, but not only on Ballet International, but you know, the people who are going to watch your interview on YouTube? What is your message that you would like to give to preserve, to cherish, to support the performing arts?
Well, the performing arts around the globe, especially now, is needed more than ever. And I think most of the support should go there.
Yes.
What we should also bear in mind is that this is a very trying time for everyone.
Yes.
And we should all be a little patient.
Yes.
Because patience will carry us through.
Mm.
But always believe in what you believe in.
Yes.
I believe in the world of dance.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's there forever. It will expand.
I'm sure it will expand. Many people say that the world of ballet is dying, but I don't think it's going to die.
I don't think so. When they say die, they mean that it's not on as often as it should be or as it was in the past,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
But I'm sure we are building up to that number again.
Yes.
I think everyone should just wait a little bit. And if it wasn't for people, you, Jean-Pierre, to remind people that we are trying, in all ways we are trying to bring you everything in the dance world.
Yes, I agree. I agree. It's a very difficult task that we have to do, you know, all together. Because it's not only me, but it's everybody who has to participate in that, you know, who more, who less, but also people who don't do ballet, they have to give something to the world of ballet, but not only for ballet, for the performing art. Because without performing art, without the culture, the artistic culture, the world cannot go on.
Well, that's true. In Cape Town or in South Africa, ballet is regarded as a sport, as
Yes.
you well know.
Yes.
So things should change there.
Yes.
One likes the world of dance or the art world, and we could only encourage the other people to join us. Yes. Whenever they can or whenever they wish. But I think the dance world will be there for a while.
What is your message and wish that you wish to say to packed ballet people who are watching you?
To the packed ballet people, well, good evening, dancers, and thank you very much for watching. And I was going to say something I shouldn't say. I do miss you all terribly. One of these days we're going to meet, and when we do meet, no T's and I's will be crossed.
There were many naughty people. So, Vincent, we have reached the end of our interview.
Okay.
And do you give me the permission to upload your interview on YouTube?
Yes, of course. Go for it.
Okay. And
Thank
also
you.
the Ballet International group, do you give me the permission?
Yes, of course. If you think it's good enough, then go for it.
Okay. So, Vincent, I have to thank you. I don't know how to find the word, but I have to thank you for participating to this wonderful interview, even if we had plenty of problems with internet, but really thank you very much. It was a
Well,
great
thank you,
pleasure.
Jean-Pierre. And when you finish, could you send me the link?
Yes, yes, yes. I will try to upload the video or tonight
Thank you.
or tomorrow during the day, and I will send you the link. I will send you the link on Facebook and on internet also. And you may pass
Thank
the
you very
link
much.
to all your friends, to all your colleagues, and especially to South Africa.
Yes. Yes. They're waiting because they were just saying, send me the link, send me the link.
So thank you very much, Vincent. You are a sweetheart, and all my best regards, and we keep in touch.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre, and good evening, and thank you very, very much for asking me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.